Now this is a really fun part of our show. I get to introduce the guest speaker for this morning. Terry Jones began his career as a travel agent. He spent 10 years in product marketing at American Airlines. He spent the next 10 years in IT at American Airlines. He then became Chief Information Officer of American Airlines Sabre, an unbelievable system we're still using today. These experiences as a travel agent, as a product marketer, and as a CIO prepared him to become CEO of Travelocity, site many of you have used. He led from a team of 6 to a $3 billion company. He retired from Travelocity when it was taken private. He then helped to found Kayak.com, where he was chairman for 7 years until it was sold to Priceline for $1.8 billion. Actually, I'm a little light on rent money this month, Terry. He recently co-founded Wayblazer, a really neat new company, travel company based on IBM Watson, and is the author of the new book on innovation. Terry is a proven innovator and the holder of several patents. He's here today to share his ideas on innovation and change. Please help me welcome Terry Jones.
Ain't it fun?
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you this morning about innovation and change. And doesn't it seem like things are moving faster today? Do you ever get up in the morning and you feel kind of like that guy in the rocket sled whose face is being pulled back by the forces of change? I know I do. Things are moving faster, and it used to be so simple. Marketing drove them to the door, sales closed the deal, and IT added it up. That was business. We were about keeping the books and running the reports and adding up sales. It was all about systems of record. But things are changing. Big data and analytics means IT is now critical to marketing. And we know that CMOs will spend more on IT than CIOs by 2017. Relationships are changing too. Relationships are changing from direct to indirect. And that means that sales is changing as well. In the past, it was about selling speeds and feeds to technical buyers. But today, it's changed again. It's about collaboratively designing solutions, designing systems engagement and systems of insights for digitally empowered leaders. That's a big change. And they're saying to us, why isn't IT as easy as my tablet and the App Store? And, if you think about it, maybe it can be. I'm old enough that the very first computer company I had, used time sharing. And think about time sharing. When we used to do time sharing, I submitted my job and I got the result. I didn't worry about backup. I didn't worry about security. I didn't worry about updates. I didn't worry about IT. Isn't that the cloud? Isn't that what the cloud is? Doesn't the cloud actually allow me as a business owner to focus just on my business and not have to worry about IT? That's why they like it so much, right? And of course, it isn't the only change. We've got cognitive and analytics and big data and systems of attraction and optimization and social. And what customers are asking us to do today is to take their hairball business plans and turn them into amazing new products and businesses using mobile and using big data and analytics and using cognitive computing. So we're in a world of pretty big change where they still want a technology partner, sure, but really they want us to be focused on their business issues and using technology to drive them forward. Now, change isn't going to stop. There's more change ahead. And as I heard recently, if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance even less. We have to be embracing of change, right? How do we keep up? Well, the good news is that new opportunities lie where old models are crumbling. We've seen that over and over again. People look at an old crumbling model, and here they are. You've heard that this morning already. Somewhere out there, Patrick is the key to increased sales. Find that key, Patrick, bring it to me. You have a boss like that? I did. Bob Crandall at American Airlines, legendary tough guy. And he's sitting there with his arm around me saying those words, and I looked out the window, and the window looked like that. Man, I had no clue what the hell I was supposed to do. But I thought about it, and back then, American was a very innovative company. And I thought, you know, maybe the key to success in the future is to become more innovative. So let's define innovation for a minute. Creativity is about thinking up new things. Innovation is about doing them. It's about putting ideas to work. You've heard all kinds of ideas this morning. They're great ideas. But they're not innovations unless you grab them and implement them and put them to work and change your business. So it's not enough just to have these new products. We're going to have to change our companies to be able to sell and implement these new products. And what I've learned in being on 12 boards and a dozen startups is that the engine of innovation rests on twin pillars: the pillar of culture and the pillar of team. If you get culture and team right, you've put gas in the tank of innovation. Because culture eats strategy for lunch. You can have the best strategy in the world. If you don't have the culture to support it, you won't transition to the future. You won't make it. Because, you know, a new idea is a little spark. It's a tiny little flame, and we're going around the room and we're talking about that new idea, and everybody says, oh, we can do that, and we can do that, and we can do that. And somebody says, but, let me play devil's advocate for just a moment here. And poof, the idea is gone. The spark goes out. Innovation is not the Olympics. In the Olympics, you train from when you're 10 to when you're 18. You have 1 6-minute run down the mountain. You come in 4th out of the medals. Your career is probably over. No, innovation is like baseball. And in baseball, if you fail 70% of the time, you're actually very good. You get a lot of chances in baseball, right? Success isn't permanent and failure isn't fatal, said Mike Ditka. Failure isn't fatal. We have to, in this new world, build a culture of experimentation, a culture where we try and we might fail. So you've all seen Mad Men. You know in the ad world, they're copywriters and editors. The writers write, the editors pick. Be an editor for a moment. Here are 3 ads from the political campaign going on right now. They're all about the same, right? Same colors, same number of words. Which one was best? Wasn't this one. It wasn't these 2. This one pulled 35% more dollars than the other 3. How do they know? Do they have the world's smartest editor? No, ABCD testing, right? They ran all 4 and let the customer decide, which is the way the world works today. 20% of what you see at kayak.com every day is an experiment. Most of it fails, but some of it is wildly successful. So don't write "we will never change" in the concrete outside your building. Write "we experiment" in the sand and let the water come wash it away, and write it again. And when you fail, and I hope you do, because if you don't fail, you're not experimenting enough, kill projects, not people. Kill projects, not, you're laughing because you know it happens, right? So early on at Travelocity, I developed a CD-ROM project to send videos out to our customers, because in those days of 1,200 baud modems, you couldn't send videos over the web. And I spent $1 million developing this product, and I lost $1 million. It was a total failure. And I had to go to my boss, the CFO at American Airlines, and tell him I lost $1 million. I was scared. You know what he said? He said, "Terry, what did you learn?" Wow, the word spread like wildfire. Terry didn't get fired, right? But also, that this guy was a coach. And coaches don't just throw people off the team, they work to make the team better. And that's what you've got to do in a new world. As a leader, you have to realize your wake is larger than you imagine. As you motor through your company, you leave a big wake behind you. It consists of what you say and do, and your employees watch you like a hawk. When somebody has a new idea, do you say, "Well, Bob, we've always done it this way, and actually, we've never done it that way"? What do you think happens when you say that? The air goes out of the room, right? Do you support, amplify, and endorse? Or do you disagree, minimize, and play devil's advocate? What you say has a great deal to do with what you get. Never, ever think outside the box. There's only one person to say that to. That's the cat, right? What you say is extremely important. That's culture. And culture is a contact sport. You can't do it by sitting in your easy chair. You got to get out there and change your culture to people who want change and want to move to this new world. The second thing is team. You have to build the right team. It's really all about the team, right? I think this new world requires old world knowledge mixed with youthful exuberance, right? So when I started Travelocity, I wanted to bring in a bunch of young people from outside the company to shake things up. And HR didn't allow that. In American, you had to come in from the bottom and work your way up. It took me about 6 months, and I finally was allowed to bring in people who didn't know travel. And I brought them in, and they thought the industry was broken, only they could fix it. They had messianic zeal, but they had no industry knowledge and no industry contacts. On the other hand, I had the .corp, or you might say the .corps. I had the suits, right? Who said the industry was fine, it didn't need fixing. They worked at a slow pace, but they had the domain expertise. You put them together, they fought like cats in a bag. It was nuts. But out of that crucible came a $3 billion company. So mix it up. Yeah, you have to teach the old dogs new tricks, but we have to teach new dogs old tricks anyway. So hire people who aren't like you. Hire people who don't fit in. And keep teams small. Amazon has a great rule. 2 pizza teams. If it takes more than 2 pizzas to feed the team lunch, the team is too big. It's real simple. Big teams don't innovate. Little teams do, right? So keep them small. Scale is the enemy of speed. So if you're going to innovate, take a little team, move fast. Then figure out how to scale it bigger. So culture and team, the 2 most critical parts of innovation. Now, if you've done that well, how do you generate these new ideas? I mean, we have all these new products, but you need the new ideas to go with them to sell into the market. Where do good ideas originate anyway? They originate from the top. Innovation from the top down is orderly, but dumb. Innovation from the bottom up is chaotic and smart. It's the guys at the bottom of the totem pole, the person in customer service, the person out meeting with the customer. Those are where you get the best ideas. At Travelocity, I found the best ideas came from those kinds of people. In 1996, we were the very first company to page you when your flight was late. That came from a woman in customer service who kept saying, your flight is on time, your flight is on time, your flight is on time. She said, why can't we page them? We started sending emails to people to tell you when the fare went down. That came from a programmer. Listen to those people. They have the best ideas. But to get down and listen to that, you have to break through the boson layer. No, not the ozone layer. This is the boson layer. This is the impenetrable layer of middle management that stops good ideas from moving upward. And you know it exists. So as a leader, you have to reach down through that and get that in and say, this is Bob's idea. We're going to try it. And this is Sally's idea. And this is John's idea. Oh, it failed. We're going to give him another chance. And when you do that, the boson layer will disappear and you'll start hearing those ideas from the bottom. You also have to have sentries. This is World War I radar. They didn't have radar, so they have these massive headsets where they listen for airplanes. You need to have headsets to listen to your customers. At Travelocity, I had a phone booth in the hall. It was a symbol. If you picked up the phone, you could listen to customer service. And everybody in the company, from the guy in the mailroom to me, had to listen to 2 customer calls a month. And at staff meeting, discussed 2 things. 1, what do we have to fix so that people don't have to call, right? And 2, what great new ideas did you get from customers that we can use to make our company better? Hook everybody into the system and make them listen, and you'll get some great ideas. Now at Kayak.com, we're a search company. We don't have a phone bank, but Paul English, our CTO, said no phones, but we will get emails. And we send the emails to the engineers. And you might think, wow, engineers are expensive. How can you have customer service done by engineers? We have a slogan, give the pain to the people who cause the pain. Very simple. And it works. These guys are in touch with the customer. They fix Kayak very quickly. So have sentries in your business, and then your product will become clay in the customer's hands, right? At Kayak, we have the #1 mobile travel app in the world. We have over 40 million people using the app. But when we started, we thought it was about next flight out. It was about get me a room tonight because the plane's late or the meeting's run over. No. What we learned is they're using the product just like the desktop. They're booking 2.5 weeks out, and if we hadn't listened and changed the product, we wouldn't have 40 million people on it today. So be recursive. Go out with these new ideas and listen and get new ideas from your customers. And look beyond what's immediately apparent. Your customer won't always tell you the next big thing. I went to the executive committee at American Airlines to propose electronic tickets. I said, look, our computer systems are smart enough. We can get rid of tickets. We don't have to print them, distribute them, collect them, count them. And they said, well, our customers want tickets. What will they do for receipts? They will never accept this idea. Leave us. Go from this room. And that was it. American was one of the last carriers to get electronic tickets, and yet today, 99% of tickets in the world are electronic. And they also missed the jump to the self-service world where you do it yourself on your smartphone. Why? Why were they late? Because in real innovation, being comfortable isn't good. You need to be uncomfortable. You need to feel in your gut, this might not work. And that's okay, because it might not work, but you have to try. So get out there and be a little uncomfortable and look beyond what's immediately apparent. Now, how about picking the best idea? How do you do that? How do you pick the very best idea? Well, you know, if you go to the planetarium and look at a supernova, you're seeing something that happened millions of years ago. How much of your revenue is based on an idea that's 10, 20, 30 years old? How long will it last? Harvard did a great study about the golden innovation ratio. Turns out big companies spent 70% of their investment around core products, 20% around adjacent products, and only 10% on transformational, really wild ideas. But when you count the money in the future, almost 70% of the money comes from those 10% wacky ideas. So nurture them. Put them in the greenhouse. Help them grow. And you'll be surprised how much revenue you get. How many people here have heard of the Swifter mop? Right? See a few hands. You know what it is? You know what a Swifter is? It's a diaper on a stick. Procter & Gamble makes diapers. They make cleaning products. They put them together. It's a billion-dollar business. Support those wacky ideas. They'll make you a lot of money. Take some risk. What do you think about risk? Do you avoid it, reduce it, transfer it? Today, in today's world, you have to accept it. Now, I started my career as a receptionist in a travel agency 45 years ago. And 6 months in, my immediate boss said, let's go do a startup. So I said, okay, and we left. And we started a travel agency, 2 of us. And you might think that was a big bet. But actually, it was a small bet. You know, I was single, I had an apartment, it was my first job, why not? Why not go try it? It wasn't a big risk. Big reward, we created a top 50 travel agency in the country. And then I jumped again because I got interested in computing. I went to a second startup where we sold mini computers to travel agents. And that company was purchased by American Airlines. And suddenly, I bought a suit. And I was a director, and then an assistant VP, and then another assistant VP, and then I ran applications, and then I ran computer ops, and then I became CIO. I had a big, important job. I had a family. All was going great. And then I decided to take a huge risk. And I said, you know that little online thing we have called Easy Saber? I want to go run that. And I went and ran a team of 12 and turned that into Travelocity.com. That became a $3 billion company. That was a huge risk, but man, that was a great reward. Now, since I left Travelocity, a bunch of other small bets. I'm a speaker. I've been on 13 different boards, some startups, some went public, some failed. I'm a speaker, an author. I've done a lot of different things. I had one huge hit with Kayak.com. So you can place a lot of small bets and do well, but you have to take the first risk. Make the first small bet. Make a change. Go for it. The market is here. You heard earlier, there are people doing what you do who are coming out of the woodwork who aren't like you. That's what happened to travel agents, right? Take that first risk. Let me give you a case study about risk because I'm doing it again. Now I'm all in again with my reputation, with my time, with my treasure. I'm all in again with a new business. And I don't have to do this. The CFO of Wayblazer called me the other day and he said, I want to sign you up for health insurance. I said, I've got my own, right? Medicare. That's what I'm on. So I don't have to do this, but I want to do it. So let me tell you about Wayblazer, our new company. It's built entirely on IBM Watson. I think we're one of the very first companies that's launched based on Watson. And what I want to do And what we're doing is to make travel planning as easy as a conversation. Because 20th century travel planning, Travelocity, Expedia, Orbitz, remember they were invented in the 20th century, are difficult. The average consumer searches over 20 sites to figure out what they want to do. And we have this explosion of data creation in travel, just like in every other industry, right? YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what are they full of? They're full of travel data, where you want to go or where you've just been. So I thought about how to fix that problem, because 80% of the world's data, and this data, is all unstructured. It seemed very suited for what Watson does. So how are we going about this? Well, we're going to take the structured data, air, car, hotel, cruise. We're going to add unstructured data, Facebook, Twitter, blogs, articles, editorial, books. We're going to add demographic data, historical trip data, location data, weather data, deals data, offers data, and give that all to Watson, which is really good at making unstructured data structured, and it's terrific at natural language processing, and now it has user behavior analysis and just announced analytics. So a perfect system for this. And we've added to it a cognitive graph database built by one of our sister companies, Cognitive Scale. And we put that all together to create a totally new product. A product that understands natural language, so you can talk to it in a search box, you can tweet to it, you can text to it, that gives you advice, not a set of blue links, and adds confidence levels, which Watson learned from medicine. 82% chance you'll like this, and here is why, because we searched 100,000 social feeds to figure out what's best. Provides insights about where you're going, and ends with commerce that comes from those insights. So let me show you how it works. First, cognitive search. So our first customer is Austin, Texas Visitors Bureau. You can go there and say, I'm heading to Austin for a guy's trip with 3 buddies this fall. Try putting that in a search engine. It won't work, right? You'll actually get trip and fall, a lawyer, right? It doesn't understand what fall is. If you say it to us, we're going to say, go to the Formula One, go to Austin City Limits, go to a UT football game. That's what guys like to do, right? And then we're going to give you insights. So if you drill down on Formula One, you're going to learn about Formula One, but you're also going to get, and the fact that it was from social reviews, blogs, guides, etc., so you don't have to do that work. And then it's going to say, hey, sit on turn 15, that has the most fan action. Take Burleson Road to avoid the traffic. It's not going to rain. Could you find that on the web? Sure. Would it take you 2 days? Probably. So we're trying to make it faster and easier. We can also provide insights on the fly. You've just landed, you want to do something, hey, it's going to rain this afternoon, why don't you just go to the spa, right? Location aware, personalized insights. Here's another insight. Are there any food trucks? That's a big thing to do in Austin. Sure. Let's take a look at Torchy's Tacos, right? Where they have fried avocados, and guess what? Ask for the secret menu that only locals know about. Watson is helping us uncover these fabulous insights. Hey, how about some great music? Yeah, let's go to Emo's, but look out, there's only 2 rows of bleachers in the back. You might not want to take your wife there if she's in heels, right? That's the kind of stuff that only insiders know. So we're taking this unstructured data and creating insights and creating commerce, cognitive commerce, commerce in a new way. So yes, I'm going to recommend you stay at the Omni Hotel, but not just because it's a good hotel, but because Foursquare tells us that's where the fans stay. Commerce is reflexive back to the question you asked. Our markets are cities, states, hotels, airlines, car rental, cruise, and magazines. And people are very interested in a totally new business based on this new wonderful technology. They'll benefit through improved visitor experience, improved search, improved advertising, improved commerce. So that's Wayblazer, cognitive search, cognitive insights, cognitive commerce. We think Wayblazer, powered by Watson, is a game changer. And I'm excited to be able to try to change travel once again. how are you going to use these new technologies? How are you going to have the next game changer using analytics, using cloud, using systems of insight? How are you going to do it? Because more change is coming, no question about it. Risk and reward. You have to take the risks to get the reward. You don't want to end up in the nostalgia district with the stationery store and the travel agency, right? You don't want to be there. And so you've got to change. You've got to do something extraordinary. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, you may remember that Continental and United kind of owned Denver Airport. And American only had one flight. And one day there was a huge snowstorm, and the airport was closed for a whole day. And then they started shoveling out, and they shoveled out United, and they shoveled out Continental, and our guy said, over here, and they never came to American. And he was still stuck 2 days later. So he went out and bought a bulldozer and shoveled out the airplane himself, and the airplane took off, because airplanes on the ground don't make money. And he charged it on his credit card, and he submitted an expense report for a bulldozer. And when our CFO got that report, he went in to see the chairman of American, and smoke coming out of his ears. He said, you know what Jack Williams did? He bought a bulldozer, and he dug out the airplane, and he charged it on an expense account. What should I do? And Crandall said, well, let's make him a vice president. Do something extraordinary in 2014. Because thou shalt not is soon forgotten, and once upon a time lives forever. And once upon a time is living forever at American. We all know the Jack Williams story. He took a risk, right? He took a risk. So we're going to have to navigate the storms going forward. Business isn't simple. But don't just push what you have. You have to provide the thought leadership here. You are the ones who have to move the customers and work with them to take them to this new world. Help them decide. Help them to success. The opportunities are out there. You know it. It's not going to be easy. The competitors are big and they want to eat you, right? But you've got the tools. So don't give up. That's what this conference is about, giving you the tools you need to go out there and win. And I wish there was a button for innovation on the keyboard, but there isn't. And I know you think you have a tough job, and you do. You know, you've got to worry about cloud and mobile and big data and analytics and new relationships. But you don't have the toughest job. These guys have the toughest job. They're the great Wallendas, the world's best wire act. You know what their vision statement is? You fall, you die. They have a tough job. You can do this. Ronald Reagan said, when we come to the edge of the known world, we're standing on the shores of the infinite. That's where you are right now. We're standing on the shores of the infinite. I mean, when Watson won Jeopardy, it was the size of this room. Pretty soon, it's just going to be in your cell phone. How we implement it is up to us. Because change is inevitable. But growth is optional. It's up to you. And I believe with Arthur Clarke that the future is a foreign country, and they do things differently there. Thank you very much. Thank you.